So I'm associated with Progenics. My name is Srihari Balasetti, and I'm having around 12 years of experience in testing, which includes automation testing about quality center QTP. Now it is called as UFT, as well as Selenium. So when we thought about giving training on Selenium, what we thought is we prepared the exact course content and also what are the things we need to explain. So why we are learning Selenium with Java, I will explain. And also there is a framework called test engine. So there are three components in this learning entire Selenium: Java, core Java part, and Selenium, followed by the test engine. So today agenda is about myself, introduction, and what makes Selenium different from other tools. So there are so many other tools available in the market, like a QTP, Rational Robot, Tosco, other tools are available. And what are the list of automation tools available in the market, and which languages supported by these functional automation tools? And a brief introduction about what are the Selenium versions and history. And after that, I will explain one manual test scenario, and I will show you how to convert that scenario into an automation script. Very basic example. Then what we are going to cover in our Selenium course, I will give the content, the entire content I will explain, only the index part. So what are the benefits we are going to get out of this course, that also we will discuss. And at the end, we are having question and answer session. In between, you are having any questions at the time of my explanation, you can also type your questions in the chat window so that I can answer at the end. Is that fine? Now, this is again about myself. I completed ISTQB all three levels, and I know QTP and Selenium. I'm external trainer for Wipro as well as internal trainer in Siemens. While I was working in Siemens 5 years back, I did some online trainings on Selenium and ISTQB. This is about myself, a brief introduction. Now coming to what makes Selenium different from other tools. So as usual, it is free, open source. Open source in the sense we can download from the internet and we can modify the tool as per our requirement. But whereas QTP is not open source, it is custom based. So it is from HP. We need to buy that tool. I will also give the differences between the QTP and the Selenium. Why Selenium is gaining more popularity than QTP. So once upon a time, QTP is the #1 functional automation test tool. Now it is not no longer. So in Naukri, if you search for Selenium alone, you are having around 3,000 jobs throughout India. But for QTP, you are having only around 1,000 jobs. So it means it is 3x times of QTP. So what is the main functionality or which type of applications we can do automate using Selenium is Selenium can automate only web applications. It cannot automate Windows-based applications. Selenium can do only functional testing, not non-functional testing. So non-functional testing can be done only with the help of either load runner or JMeter, some other tools. So web application functional testing, to do automation, this Selenium was developed. So Selenium support multiple OSs like Windows, Linux, OS X, Mac. So almost all operating systems Selenium will support. Also, there is a flexibility that we can use our Selenium script or Selenium programs with all the other high-level language programs like Java, JavaScript, C#, Ruby, and Python. So any of the high-level programming languages we can use. So most of the people are preferring Java, followed by after Java, next preference language is Python, and next is C#. So nearly 80% of the people are using Selenium with Java, and also I will explain how Java is used in many of the other automation tools. In addition to multi-OS support and multi-programming language support, we can use Selenium to test multi-browsers. Like we can test applications in Firefox browser, in IE, in Chrome, Safari, and Opera. Previously, when QTP was developed, so QTP supports only IE. So that is also one of the reason many people switch to Selenium. So Selenium supports almost all the browsers, all the OSs, and all other high-level programmings. But whereas QTP was supported only VB script programming language, it won't support other programming languages. So as Prasad already told, in Agile DevOps and continuous integration, there is high level of importance for automation. So it will give the results very fast, so that we can get the feedback at an early stage. So getting the feedback at an early stage is the main core objective of Agile methodology and DevOps. So being open source tool, Selenium is gaining more popularity for doing web application functional testing. So these are all the advantages of Selenium when compared to the other tools. So if you come about speaks about only all the advantages are there, what about disadvantages about Selenium? Means there are slightly two disadvantages we can say. One is we cannot automate Windows based applications using Selenium. Selenium supports only web applications. That is one thing. So there is another tool for another extension for Selenium called AppM, APPIUM. So using AppM and Selendroid, we can automate mobile applications also. And the other disadvantage with Selenium is, since it is open source, if any issue arises while you are doing automation, nobody will support you immediately. So as a user, you need to visit the Selenium HQ website. There you need to provide our bug description. So users like us will come and they will resolve the issue, and after some time it will be resolved. Or if you are capable of fixing any defect in the tool itself, we can fix the defect and we can tell to the user community. But whereas in terms of the customized tools like QTP and other tools, there is customer support available from the organization, so we can raise a ticket to the HP, so they will come and they will resolve the issues very immediately. These are the only two limited disadvantages. One is the support for the technical issues, and the another one is Windows based applications. These two things Selenium won't support. But there are so many other advantages. These many advantages are there. This is multi browser, multi programming language support, multiple OS support. So in spite of all these advantages, Selenium is gaining more popularity in the world now. Now, coming to tools and languages. So the left hand side, I have mentioned all the tools, and right hand side, I mentioned the languages support by the particular tool. So unified functional testing, it will support only UFT. The previously it was called as QTP. It will support only VB-script. UFT Pro, it will support Java, C#, JavaScript, test complete. So JavaScript, Renorex, C#, VB.NET, Tosca suite, it will support Java. So Java, everywhere Java is there. So Selenium supports Java, C#, Python, Perl, and JavaScript. So OATS is another functional automation tool. Relational functional test is from IBM, so it will support Java and VB.NET. So Sahi supports Java and Sahi script. So almost all the programming, all the functional test tools will support Java. So that is the main reason many people are learning Java to do automation. So how much percentage of Java is required to learn automation or to do Selenium? Means the core, the basic concepts of Java, like the objects concepts, the OOPS concepts, and polymorphism, inheritance, the packages, the member access, arrays, file handling, exception handling, some part of multi-threading, and some collections. So this is more than enough to do our Selenium automation, to do to learn the core Java concepts. This is clear. Now there is a history about Selenium. A lot of things are there in that one. I will share after this session is completed. So Selenium was originally developed by Jason Huggins in 2004 as an internal tool at the ThoughtWorks. Later they developed another tool called Selenium RC. I will type in Notepad so that you can understand. So Selenium IDE was there. After Selenium IDE, they developed Selenium RC, remote control. Then this RC was known as Selenium 1.0. Then they combined Selenium RC plus Selenium WebDriver, and they called it as Selenium 2.0. So after Selenium 2.0, now the latest version is only the Selenium WebDriver without RC. And another guy, he's developed a tool called Grid. This is jar file. So the Selenium Grid will support parallel execution. Selenium WebDriver latest version is 3.8. So this WebDriver consisting of only WebDriver, no RC. Now the IDE is deprecated. There is no IDE. IDE means for record and playback. RC Selenium remote control. This is also deprecated. These two are deprecated. No longer support. There is no support from the Selenium. Now we are going to learn Selenium WebDriver and also Selenium Grid. These two concepts we will learn. So this is about the history about the Selenium. There are a lot of versions are available. Now the latest version of Selenium 3.12, it is released in May 2018. Only last month it is released. This is about brief history, a version history about Selenium. You can go through this one later also. Remember that IDE is deprecated and RC is deprecated. No need to learn IDE and RC. So IDE is a Firefox add-in, and we can do record and playback. So no need to do record and playback. We will learn directly the programming concepts. So this is again the history. Selenium 1.0 plus WebDriver equal to Selenium 2.0. So they deprecated. Selenium IDE will no longer work from Firefox 55 onwards. There are no people to maintain. So this is history about Selenium. Now we will discuss about one sample automation script, one scenario, and we will show you how to do that one. So what are the benefits of automation? So we can speak a lot of things like it is one-time effort. We can reuse the automation scripts. We can run a number of times, and there is no manual intervention required to do automation. A lot of things are available about automation benefits. Now, what is ROI? So ROI normally stands for return on investment. So when we go for to do automation, when no need to do automation. So for example, if you are going to do load testing, compulsory we need to do using the tool. You are doing manual testing, and we need to, so suppose our product is having multiple releases. So end of the each sprint, we need to release the product. And at the end of the another sprint, again, we need to integrate sprint 1 with a sprint 2, and we need to do the testing. So in that case, when there is a need for frequent releases, it is better to automate at least some basic functionality of the application. So assume that there are 100 test cases, 100 end-to-end test cases the testers wrote for a particular sprint. So out of these 100 test cases, assume that there are 25 test cases which are very, very basic and which are suitable for doing a smoke test. So whenever the build is released, it is, since we are reusing the smoke test or we are redoing the smoke test for each and every sprint, it is better to do go for automation of the smoke test scripts. So if you automate these 25 test cases using any tool, any functional automation tool, we can reuse the tool. Whenever the build is released, just do automation, find the bugs. If any bugs are there, results are very fast so that the developers can fix as early as possible. So one time effort, we can use it multiple times. That is ROI. Suppose we are going to test the application only one time. So no need to go for any automation. Test one time using manual testing, write some test cases, execute it, and give the results. So as long as we are testing the same application with same type of functionality multiple times, then better go for automation. This we will call it as ROI. ROI speaks about a lot of other parameters like training cost, tool cost, and tool maintenance, all those things. So in terms of Selenium, there is no tool cost associated, it is free. And training cost is, nowadays organizations internal training is somewhat less, and organizations are recruiting people who knows already at least one or two tools in addition to manual testing. So the training cost is also less for the organization. Tool cost is also less. Only thing is they need to set up the environment, and they need to the testers need to write the test scenarios or test scripts starting from the day one. Now coming to the automation, say for example, if I open any application, say I will tell you, I will take one sample website. This sample website was developed previously for QTP automation as a sample site. So this is in URL which is open. I opened this URL in the Firefox browser. So when you see this application, web application, it is having a lot of objects, right? So here we are having username, one object is there, password, one text box is there. So sign in, one button is there. Assume that there are other objects also available. So forget about all these other objects. I will explain one by one. Assume that we are having now the username text box, password text box, sign in button is there. So there are three types of web elements available in the page. So learning any functional automation tool, it involves learning the object properties and methods. So if you are comfortable with all web elements, so there are so many web elements available. So text box is one web element. So button is one web element. List box is one web element. Radio button is one web element. And checkbox is one web element. So web table is another web element. So pop-up window is one web element. So like that, lot of web elements or web objects are available. So each of the objects are having two things. Any object is having two things. One is the property, some properties it is having, and some methods. So we are going to learn one by one all objects properties and methods. Say assume that, so consider the object man or human being. So what are the properties of a man? So man is having name, so he is having some weight. Weight is one property. So he is having some color. Color is one property. So these are some of the properties of a human being. So what are the methods we can apply on a human being, or what are the actions a human can do? So human can walk. Walk is one action or one method. Human can talk, one action or one method. So human can eat, one action or one method. So these are all the methods related to a human being. So name is one property, weight is one property, color is one property. Properties are unique to one particular object. So assume that here we are having username, right? So this username is a text box. This text box is having one property called username label. So username is a label for this text box. So password is a label for this text box. For this button, sign in is a label. So label, sign in label is a property for this button. Even though username and password both are text box objects, but they are different in their behavior or in their properties. So the properties are different, but the methods are same. So for text box, what are the methods is, so to type something in this text box, something like this, any text, we are having a method called send keys in Selenium. So all this I will explain one by one in a hierarchical manner. This is just a demo. Just try to remember that to type values, we are having a method called send keys in Selenium. So to click this sign in button, we are having a method called click in Selenium. So there are two methods associated with. One, click is a method associated with button object, and send keys is a method associated with the text box. So there are two objects here, correct? Now, so if you are comfortable, or if you are able to learn all the objects properties and methods, automation is done, automation is completed. Only thing is we need to understand the syntax, and we need to write some of the framework and how to generate the reports. that is then 50% of the automation is completed. Now, there is a concept called locators. So locators in Selenium are used to identify the objects. So how we will identify the objects? So if we want to identify any object in our daily day-to-day life, say for example in classroom, when a teacher calls a student by name, say for example Lakshmi. So when a teacher calls a student by the name Lakshmi, so Lakshmi is an object. So she will respond to teacher answer. So here the teacher is identifying the uh, object student with the help of the name property. So what is that one? Name. So we are having name property. With the help of the name property is unique. With the help of the name property, the teacher is able to identify a particular student. Similarly, each and every object is having properties and methods. So what are the properties available? How to find the objects? So we are having locators in Selenium. There are different locators. I will explain in next classes what types of locators are there in Selenium and how to find and do. So ID, name, class name, so link text, tag name, partial link test, like this lot of locator mechanisms are there. So by using the locator mechanism, Selenium will identify a particular object. Suppose how we are identifying this is username text box. So visually we are able to read that this is username and we are able to see that this is the text box. So here we can type our username. So we are able to identify visually this is a password and it is a text box. So here we can type the password. How Selenium, how the tool will know about what is a username field and what is a password field. So it knows with the help of the locators. So I will explain you how to find the locators, how to find an object property. So right click on this particular text box. There is option called inspect element. So right click on this one. There is an option called inspect element. Click on this one. So it will open one window at the bottom. See here in the bottom left hand side, pick an element from the page when I mouse over. So this is mouse pointer is there. Pick an element from the page. So I'm clicking on this one. Now I'm going to here in username text box. I clicked on the username text box. So in the bottom you can see here input name equal to username, size equal to 10, type equal to text. So these are the properties of this username text box. So this type is text box, it is having size 10 and its name is username. So we want this username, name equal to username, that we need to take and we need to save in somewhere. So name equal to, we are having what is that one, username. The username is the property. Name username is the property for this username text box. Now again, I'm identifying the property for, say I entered Srihari here. Now I'm trying to identify the property for object property for password field. So password here it is showing input name equal to password, size equal to 10, type equal to password. So what is the name property here? Name property here is password. So these properties we will learn for all objects. Time being I am explaining only for one object. So we took the name property by using the locator mechanism. So for username, the name property is username, for password is also password. Now I want to click on the sign in button. So I want to know the what is the property associated for sign in. Right, now I clicked on sign in. See here input name equal to login, value equal to login, value property, source is some image. So here the property is again name property, value is login. So name property and value, this is the property name, or the locator name. This is the property and this is the value. So property is student, name is Lakshmi. So property is here name, text box, value is username. Property is name, value is password. Property is name, value is login. So like that. So after clicking on this sign in button, so the password I'm entering, I clicked on sign in button. So after clicking on sign in button, I need to check whether the login page, the next page is displayed or not. Here we are having one image called sign on. So this sign in, I checked it. So it is showing as image source width height. So we need to take this sign in property. So it's a sign in property, we need to take the link text. So the link text associated with this one is sign -on. So the three properties we found it. So for that one also, there is a property called link text. Link text is sign-on. I will take another 10 minutes maximum, then I will close it so that you can understand. So till now what we found is, we found the different objects, properties and methods. Now what I'm going to do is, this is my sample application. Everything I will explain. This is Eclipse environment using Java and Selenium. So I have associated the Selenium jar files to this project. Here you can see all the jar files I associated. So we need to download Selenium jar files related to Java. I will explain all those concepts in the coming classes. How to install Eclipse, how to install Java, how to download Selenium jar files, Selenium WebDriver for Java, all those things I will explain. So time being, just listen to this sample application. I will try to explain my level best, so that in the coming classes I will explain in detail. So the scope is not explanation of this program in depth. So here all these things are related to Firefox driver. I created one instance for the Firefox driver. So driver is an object of type WebDriver, and it is implementing the specific browser type Firefox driver. So I will explain how to automate using IE, how to automate using Chrome, as well as how to automate using Firefox driver. Now after opening, I'm asking Selenium WebDriver to wait for some seconds. This is implicit wait. This wait is supported by the Selenium. Using Java wait also we can do. That is thread.wait or thread.sleep method is there. Using thread.sleep also we can wait. So here I'm finding three elements. So web element username, web element password, web element submit. So there is a method called driver dot find element by. So by dot name, by dot ID, like that there are different locators. We will see it in depth later. So what are the values we found? The values we found for each property of the web object is, one is username, password, another one is sign in. So login. So all these things I have saved in a element. Now submit is a web element, password is a web element whose name property is password. So username is one web element whose name is username. Now what I am doing is sending keys. I am sending values to the username text box. I am sending values to the password text box. Now after sending the values to the two text boxes, I am clicking on the submit button. Again, after clicking on the submit button, I am asking the driver to wait for 5000 milliseconds. So after waiting for some time, now I am checking whether this sign on button is displaying or not. Now again, I am finding the element with the link text sign in and saving in a web element called sign on. So sign on is a web element whose property is link text property sign on. There is a method in Selenium called is displayed. Is displayed, if an object is displayed is true, it means that that object is displayed in the application. So if this condition satisfies, I am printing to the console that system.out.println is a Java statement. I will explain these things while we are learning Java. So it will print sign in form is displayed. Otherwise, if it is not displayed, it will print sign in form is not displayed. There is another method called driver.quit. So this driver.quit will close the browser. I commented it out because we need to see whether our application is opened or not. So if I uncomment this one, it will close the application. So we cannot say whether the application is opened or not. This is clear. So I didn't explain all the things. I explained how to find a locator property, an object property. So find and save the elements in different web elements. And there are two methods I explained. One is send keys, another one is clicking. So let us run this application so that we can see how Selenium will do automation. So there is a run option here. There is a run button here. Anything you can do it. Now I click on the run button. So in console it is showing there are something with a red color. Don't worry about that one. Now Selenium opened the Mercury Tours, so it is logged into the sign on page. That's all. Our automation is completed. I didn't close this application because we need to see this one. So if I uncomment this one driver.quit, then it will close. So see the result here. So forget about all these red color things. This is system related uh, log files. So here we are having sign on form displayed. So it means that our test case is passed. So when sign on form will be displayed, if sign on web element is displayed, then only sign on form is displayed. So I will explain all these methods. So as of now, in this simple program, we learned about two web objects. One is text box, another one is button. So button is having one property, text box are having some properties and methods. So the property on text box is send keys. Sorry, the method on text box is send keys. The method on button is click. So two methods we learned, and one ID we learned. So the name locator using the name property. Similarly, as we humans are having different names, so if somebody calls Srihari, I will respond. Similarly, if a driver try to find an element having name username, it will find that element in that particular page. So that element is written by the driver object. That element we are saving in the N1 object, web element object. So username is object of type web element. So what is object, what is class, everything we will discuss in Java training. So this is about the automation related thing, and I am done. Before that, just give me 2 minutes. I will give the course contents. So these are the course contents at a high level, very high level, introduction to Selenium and Java. So each will take at least 1 week of time. So advanced Java concepts, the Selenium WebDriver, and working with the different browsers like Firefox, Chrome, and IE. So what is meant by synchronization? So how to ask Selenium to wait for some time and until unless some web object is displayed on the web page or not. And there are some advanced automation concepts, and with real-time examples we will see. And finally, there are different frameworks available. One is TestNG framework, and other frameworks associated with Selenium are page object model, POM, and data driven framework. And TestNG itself, we are having data provider framework and parameters. Through TestNG also we can send parameters, right? So I will give you what benefits you will get after completion of this training is. So you will get at least real-time knowledge to manage at least 2 years of experience. So you will get confidence to attend the interviews. So I will also help in attending interviews or in facing the interviews. How many different types of questions will come in Selenium interviews. The common interview questions also we will share. And you will get good command and writing Java programs, expertise in automating web applications. Anyhow, this is web application tool only. I will give a real-time web application automation. There are some sample sites available, and original sites also we can do some automation. I will explain about how to install and configure Selenium and all the related components. So say for example, if you want to install QTP, just at one click you can install the QTP. All the components will be downloaded. But whereas in case of Selenium, everything is in the form of jar files. So we need to download the corresponding jar file, and we need to associate to our application. I will explain how to download and how to do the things, since everything is open source, and I will give the documentation also. So end of the each class, I will provide the notes and programs that are discussed in the class, and also we will provide you the recorded sessions of the classes. Suppose in one day or other day, due to some emergency, you are unable to attend the class, the recorded sessions will be available for you. You can listen to those sessions whenever you are free. I'm done with this one, and thank you for all of you. Thank you, Prasad sir. And you can unmute.
So if you have
You can unmute.
questions, you can unmute and ask.
You can ask the questions.
Hi Srihari, this is Akila.
Yeah, Akila, tell me.
So in the code which you showed, you were assigning, you were kind of assigning the object property. The username, password, and the sign-in button, right? So before using that, before using or performing any function on that object, we have to declare assign the value, is it?
Yeah, actually there are two lines of code here. Say for example, no need to assign. This is in fact a good question. I will explain you. So here we are having username dot send keys Srihari. So for better programming purpose, I found an element whose property or whose name property is having username, and after finding that element, I am saving that element in a variable called username. So now this username I can use n number of times. Suppose I don't want to use this username many number of times, I can use only one time. So in that case, no need to assign this one, directly come here. So Control C, type here. That's all. You can combine those two statements into a single statement. So for better programmability and readability, I have split it into two statements. So this is also works fine. Directly div.find element by dot username. So it will find an object having name property as username. Then in that object, we are sending or we are typing the value Srihari. This is also fine. Or if you want to save in a particular web element, then do some operation, that is also fine. So here what we did is, after that, password dot send keys Mercury. So there are two statements here. So instead of two statements, you can combine as one statement. This is clear, Akila?
And in one of the framework where I have worked, we used to save all the properties in a separate file, and in our script we will be referring to the property from that file. So in that way also we can organize it.
Yes, correct. So frameworks I didn't explain. This is a sample program, so that people should understand the things. So this HTTP URL, this is the URL, this is the property, and this is the value, right? Srihari, Mercury, all these are values. So the URL, the properties, and the values, all these things we will put together in separate different files, and we will read, and we will pass to the application. So this is something like hard coded. So we cannot use script like this. This hard coded things we cannot do. We will put it somewhere and we will read. So it is easy for us for maintainability. So in framework concept, I will explain all those things. So whatever you used in your organization, that is correct one only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Srihari?
Yeah.
Srihari, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Say for example, this web application, I want to test for 1,000 users.
Yes.
And I want to see how the performance is. Like many times we see the browser is getting crashed, or they're not able to log. Even the IRCTC, sometimes we have a problem. So
right,
can we do that kind of testing using Selenium? Like 1,000 users are being tested. Like Srihari is one user. And like that, can we do the testing of 1,000 users automated using this tool? Maybe I don't know whether it's a relevant question for this kind of tool.
Relevant question, sir. So you are speaking about indirectly about performance. So performance
Correct.
testing. So performance testing cannot be done using Selenium. Performance testing can be done only with the other tools like load runner or JMeter. JMeter is open source. Load runner is again from HP. So only we can test here the functionality testing, functional part of application, web applications. Selenium won't support any performance testing. QTP is having some limited support that it can do some transaction analysis like start time and end time. We can do that, but here we cannot do performance testing.
Okay.
Yes.
So is there any way to integrate other tools like you said JMeter or load runner with Selenium?
Load runner we cannot integrate. We can integrate HP ALM with Selenium, and JMeter also we can integrate with Selenium, because JMeter and Selenium are from same organization, ThoughtWorks, open source.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other doubts? Somebody I think asking.
Yeah, Srihari, this is Prabha.
Yeah, Prabha.
One question related to advanced Java. So in advanced Java, will you cover the collections part and other like linked list, array list and all, right?
Yes, so I think I didn't show this one to all of you. So this is our course curriculum content. So since you asked about advanced Java, here it is. There are arrays are there, linked lists are there, collections are there, files and Excel reading, writing, exception handling, everything is available. We will discuss.
Okay. Yeah, and one more thing, instead of reading from Excel, files reading, that is key pair related things, right? I mean,
yeah, from Notepad also we can read, from Excel sheet also we can read. So from database also we can read. So why we are using this file concepts or reading data is there is a framework concept called data driven framework where a large amounts of data is available. Say just now Prasad told that he requires some 100 users. So all these 100 users we can save either in Notepad or we can save either in Excel sheet, or we can send it through TestNG, or we can create tables and connect to the database using Java, read the data from the data table from the DB and then do programming. So all these things are helpful for doing data driven framework where large amounts of data is available.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, will you cover the XPath locator, CSS locator as well, right?
Yeah, XPath is in fact a very important locator. I didn't told here. XPath, there are a lot of variations available in XPath, absolute XPath and relative XPath, how to write XPath. XPath itself is having around, I think, 1 hour of explanation. XPath is important in terms of interview questions as well. I will explain XPath in depth. No need to worry about XPath.
Okay, so if you miss anything, I mean the recorder session, after seeing the recorder session, can we ask the question for next?
Sure. You are always open for questions, and also if you are having some free time, we can we say for example you didn't attend the class. If you are having free time, we both have some session. So I will conduct one session for you alone so that you can understand that session. If you are not comfortable with the recording, I'm always open for explanation.
Okay. So can we just call so for example, by going through the any programming or something, we are getting some error or something we are not able to. Can we call?
Yeah, you can call me, you can text me. My WhatsApp number is there. I will give you WhatsApp. We will create one WhatsApp group. I will ask Prasad sir I think he will do that one. So we can coordinate all those things. You can send screenshots to me. I will try to resolve your issues as early as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll prepare you for the next interview, Prabha. Don't worry.
Actually, I'm having already next week. Maybe I'm not sure, but I'm just inquiring about the FT position. So confidently I want to attend. That is the reason I've been there for Selenium from beginning 2000, I think 15 or sometime. But I'm not full-fledged involved in that. So this is the first time I'm going to give interview full of confidence. So that's the reason I just joined it.
Yeah, no need to worry. We will give interview questions, the pattern, how they will ask all the things. We will discuss.
Okay.
Any other doubts? I think Bala, he joined early with us. Thank you, Bala, for joining early to the training. And if you are having any doubts, you just ask me. I will try to.
Okay.
Hello, Bala is there?
Okay. So
Yeah, carry on.
from here only, I mean Chennai, or I mean as India people.
That Prasad sir only knows. I am in Chennai. I am in Medavakam currently.
Okay. Okay.
So
Srihari, this is Bala. Thanks so much.
yeah.
This would be definitely useful. I've taken a break for a couple of years now after 25 years of experience. So I want to get into it. Let us see how it goes. Okay. Thanks so much.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Bala, for attending on time and came.
Sure. Thanks so much. It's my pleasure.
You're welcome. Any other doubts regarding course contents or any doubts regarding whatever topics we discussed, or if you have any still doubts, you can ask me.
So there will be a deep coverage. Actually, we have put only the high level coverage.
Yeah, we did a very high level. Even though this is very high level, I try to explain my level best. So what is an object, what is a method, what is a property. So we learned only two things. One is text box, another is button. Like that, there are so many objects available in any web page. So we want to learn all those objects one by one. The properties and methods, and the framework part. So once this two things are done, then we are done with automation.
Okay, thanks, Srihari. So if there are no other questions, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Srihari to patiently explaining the concepts. And thank you all for attending.
Yeah,
we'll meet again in the next webinar.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Prasad sir. Bye. Have a nice day.